Minister, I have to come back on two very obvious, almost glaring contradictions in what you just said, because both yourself and the Taoiseach are at pains to create this equivalence, you know, all the time going on about the 7th of October, and then what Israel are doing, without, by the way, ever once condemning Israel. And the two pieces I'm going to pull out from what you've just said are on the hostages. You think it's under no circumstances should hostages be taken. It's a terrible thing. Well, there's a lie circulating at the moment in the lead up to the ceasefire, and it goes like this. The Palestinians who will be released in the coming hours are convicted terrorists in prison because they tried to murder Israelis. The Israelis who will be freed are innocent civilians being held hostage by terrorists. Now, women and minors are being released from prison where they've been held without charge, without trial, internment, for God knows how long, for as long as the Israeli wanted to hold on to them at their pleasure. That is who is being released for the hostages that Hamas are about to free. But the lie is already sinking in. And you've almost been guilty of it, because you condemned the taking of hostages. When did you condemn the dozens, the thousands of children and women who've been taken hostage by the Israeli state because they fired a stone or dared to stand up to the armies, the IDF, when their homes were being pulled apart by settlers? Never. The second one I want to take on is the question of settler violence, because you talked about the settler violence in the West Bank and how awful it is, and it shouldn't happen, and anyone who knows about it should report it. Watch the videos, watch the news. It is being overseen constantly by the forces of the IDF. They hold back the Palestinians, often arrest them, imprison them, sometimes shoot them. They hold them back to allow the settler violence to take place. They have been the ones gunning down children and innocent people on the streets of the West Bank and Ramallah. I don't know what planet you're living on, but I do know this, that these are serious debates we're having here. They're not messing. And the serious one that I want to touch on here, all of our motion is important, is the question of Shannon. Because US troops have been going through Shannon frequently, US warplanes land there. As has been pointed out, we never use the opportunity to examine those planes, to run tests on them, to see what is being transported. But we do know that US military aid has sustained the Israeli state since its foundation, has passed over billions and billions of dollars to the tune of $4 billion a year now, and it's currently rising. The Israeli state would not be able to drop the bombs on the schools, on the hospitals, on the refugee camps, to smash up people's homes, to annihilate the Palestinian people, were it not that every bomb and bullet has US written all over it. And that is another good reason why we should determine that we don't allow Shannon Airport to be used by this, biggest army in the world, without any discretion whatsoever, does not care to achieve its geopolitical ends. It will go in and murder in a butcherous, barbarous way and assist the Israelis in doing so, and continues to assist them. In the course of this last tragic few weeks of the bombardment of Gaza, I've noticed one or two things that have gone under the radar, and one of them is not disconnected from the ambition of the industrial military complex, which is best represented by US and Israeli armed forces, and that is the discovery of a 122 trillion cubic metres of natural gas and $453 billion worth of oil in the Gazan Sea. And on the 29th of October, the Israeli government dished out 12 exploration licenses to 6 different companies, including BP, including an Italian company, and several US companies, to explore for gas and oil in the Gazan Sea. Of course, the Gazans will never benefit from the energy or the profits or the income that come from it, but nobody should benefit from it. And here's what terrifies me: that the geopolitical empire, best represented by US and Israel, even contemplates going into underground and extracting that level of fossil fuel while we're facing a terrifying consequence of the potential of climate change. And that, linked with the multiple crises that we're facing in this world today, I think has really prompted people to be on the side of the Palestinians, to come out against leaders like Micheál Martin, like Rishi Sunak, like Joe Biden, Genocide Joe they call him now, because you don't know how to handle the crises we're facing in the world. You're making them worse, and you're doing so for geopolitical interests that back up the butchers of Gaza. And that is why this motion is important in all its levels, including the question of the use of Shannon. And in the meantime, we're left with serious questions like, how do we help families who contact... I said 6 minutes. How do we help families who are left with people being butchered in Gaza and who work and live here as Irish citizens? What do we say to a Lord Mayor who invites the Israeli ambassador over to the Mansion House on the day that we're supposed to be marking international solidarity with the people of Palestine? Where are your heads at? Can we please get a leadership in this country that will then shape how the Irish people feel and is reflected across the world?
Thank you.